a feeling of this hustler energy. Let's do it. Let's move it away.
Adrenaline rushes.
Adrenaline rushes, yeah. And I think competitions like this makes the program more lively.
Yeah.
And the HR hackathon is something, whatever we've learned so far throughout the program, we were able to replicate that.
Hi everyone, welcome to the MasterCamp podcast. I'm Ravleen, your host, and today we're going to host Payal Jaswal, who's a student from the MasterCamp in Human Resource Management. So today we'll be talking about Payal's journey so far, her experience at MasterCamp, and we'll also talk about HR and L&D as a space. So I just want to start off. I've read through some of your stories, some of your experiences, and to be very honest with you, it seems like ye ek insaan ka nahi hai. It seems like you've lived multiple lives, even though you're so young. So I really want to know who really is Payal Jaswal, right? Going from Miss Femina Shimla to then being an in-flight supervisor and then transitioning to HR. That seems like a crazy journey. What was that like?
Yeah, and in between there was two more industry to add on. That is IT and then venture capital.
Wow, okay.
So I was pursuing BSc, but then Vistara, the airline, they happened to be in my campus at that time for the recruitment.
Okay.
They were about to start their operation in
What
the year.
kind of role?
For a cabin crew.
Okay.
And back in 2015.
Right.
So they were about to start their operations.
Okay.
So that's when I just went there and gave an interview, got in, and worked with them for 5 years. And then perhaps I was a flight manager. While in aviation, it was a fantastic journey. I mean, what not I learned: team management, crisis management, multitasking, what they call TAT, turnaround time, that as well. And then I realized that there's an educational, intellectual gap there. So I started preparing for my MBA. After that, I moved from aviation, and I also pursued a certification as a Scrum Master. So I'm certified Scrum Master.
Oh, wow.
And then for 2 years, I worked in IT industry.
And this was while you were working with Vistara?
No, I left Vistara. For 5 years, so I worked with them.
Yeah.
And then in 2020, I joined an IT company as a junior Scrum Master. Wow. So I was working with them. For 2 years, I worked there, understood the principles of agile working, the team collaboration, how do you get the things done by keeping your team, removing the impediments in the team, and how do you work together. So all of that I learned there.
So again, team management was a big part of your job as a Scrum Master.
That was a part, yes, a big part of my job, and also collaboration amongst different individuals who are working in different departments, and getting them on the same page, working towards the common goal was something I was doing, maintaining the equilibrium between my stakeholders. Then, as I said, I was also preparing for my master's, but I couldn't get through a good B school.
Okay.
Then I perhaps got to know that there's a college called as mastersunion.
Yeah.
And I went to the website, checked everything out. Very, very cool course. I was like, okay, let me enroll. And luckily I got in. And then the year spent with masterunion was an enabler as a brand in my CV. Which has landed me where am I today.
That's very interesting. Actually, that was going to be my next question. What was that one moment that made you realize that HR is what I want to do? I understand that while you were working as a Scrum Master, you understood that team management and human behavior are things that you're interested in. But was there like one sort of moment where you were like, okay, next switch, we're going to HR now?
You know, as the name say, human resource.
Yeah.
In terms of empathy, sympathy, in terms of thinking, wishing best for their people. That's what the word itself defines of. So while in aviation also, you know, I was doing all of it. There was just no tag of me being a human resource or something. I was doing all of it. I was helping my team to grow. I was taking care of people. I was thinking on for their safety. It was on a different aspect, but somewhere there, what an HR does.
Managing people.
Yes,
right?
You're managing people, thinking of their advancement, right? And and team management sort of and multitasking, which I learned there, right? And I exactly didn't know at that time that I want to go for HR. Then I moved to Scrum, and as I said earlier also that I'm very much interested since then in human behavior.
Yeah.
Like why they do what they do, also sort of something, and how can I add value? How can I add value in this podcast as well? Was my first question to even come here, that what's in it for me and what's the objective? Why are we doing this? So that is something, kind of a person I am. And I'm a very kind of person who do very pro and con sort of. I take a very strategic
Very
decision.
planned.
Yes. Because I started my career early.
Yeah.
And if I am here today, it is because of the decision I made back at that little girl of 17
Every little
years old.
decision leads you to where you are
Yes.
today. Right.
So I think it's the reflection of that I'm really good with people, getting things done, stakeholder management, and that all I learned, the executive presence in the aviation end to end. So बोलते हैं ना कि doors खुद ही खुलते गए, that okay, I think one's leading to another, So I think meanwhile, while I was given an option of MBA पर किस में, so I really thought, take a finance, so okay, I'll learn it. There's nothing which I can't do until it's rocket and science. That's what my current boss says. Even if somebody teaches you and there's a good teacher.
Yeah.
So I think जब मेरे को decision लेना था कि I want to do MBA, I think that time I really thought to myself that how can I use my industry agnostic skills and replicate in different industries. And these were the skills any human resource individual has.
Right.
So it just all makes sense.
The match was made.
Yeah, the match was made.
Okay, so you just mentioned what exactly you work on as in your current role, right? But I wanted to know how you made that choice, because HR as a field also has so many domains. Right. How did you end up doing what you're doing right now?
All right, Ramin. So I'll tell you, while I was working with VC, okay, so I really respect the last boss, okay. He gave me an opportunity to actually a global platform where I was interacting with the different colleges globally, getting them on board, talent acquisition I did for him, and a lot of strategic management as well. So while doing while understanding all those functions, there was still a hunger of ki Payal, okay, talent acquisition, fine, you're doing it, but there was still a hunger of something different, something different. So then when learning and development was proposed, and when I reflect back, so it was my calling actually.
Someone mentioned it to you that this is something that you can try doing. Was that the case? Or?
Not anybody, perhaps, but while I was pursuing the course also, while doing my internship, learning and development, it is under human resource, but it is itself a very, very different subject itself. Very, very sort of what I said, that the intellectual gap sort of that. So it helps me fill that for myself here at least.
As for other people.
Yes, for other people. So I think while I was reading this, while this was being taught in our classes, I think at that time also I was very much inclined towards it. The principles of it. How do you follow those principles? How do you replicate those principles when you create a curriculum or a course, right? How do you derive a content? So I think that was something made me realize while pursuing the MasterCamp course and one of the sessions done by one of the mentors of us, that yes, I think this is something I can start on. And then now it's making sense. I think I'm loving it.
So I think you have a good understanding of what you do, but I just want to understand, L&D is a huge part of, for bigger companies, right? It's a part of HR, it's an important part of HR, but smaller companies tend to miss out on it, right? So like, what's your thought on that?
Sure. I will not talk about the bigger companies. I'll not talk about I'll only talk about my 7 months of experience where I'm working currently. I'm actually working for a common founder here who has 2 organizations. One is 15 years old and one is 2 years young.
Oh my God, that's like the best of both worlds.
Yeah, best of both worlds. So with the tiniest of my experience in learning and development for now, but creating a major impacts, of course, I think that in a bigger firms, what I'm seeing here is that the 15-year-old firm need change management, adaptation. So we are introducing a lot of in-house software, which, we all know that AI is the boom, right? Machine learning. If anybody's job is under, I don't want to say that, but of course, at risk if we don't adapt, right? If we do not go with the flow, sort of that. So that's what we're bringing in this 15-year-old company, the new technology, helping them to, and these people
get updated to the time.
And these people are people who are blue-collar employee people who are used to be on the side, but we are uplifting them by getting them on the same page with the technology. So we are making a impact in the industry and also as adding value to our nationality here, right? Perhaps the learning, if I talk about the corporate learning, of course, there are certain common trainings which are mandatory.
Everyone has to do.
Compliance training, yes. But certain which is role requirement training. For example, if I say so, I'm also currently pursuing, apart from all this, I'm also developing my growth area, that is data analytics.
Oh, wow. How many things do you do at any given point of time? Like the average would be 3, I think.
4 to 5.
4 to 5.
Yeah, I'm a hustler. I
we
want to
can
achieve
see
things.
that.
I mean, we're young. Why not go out and explore? There's, even if somebody says, I've seen enough. No, you've not seen enough at all. Just, so every day I tell myself, what's next? What are we going to do today? It's like that. And why not?
Taking advantage of being in your 20s.
Yes, why not? Because, I think this time won't come again. And if anyone asks me, where do you see yourself after 5 years? I don't know. I only know where I see myself 1 saal tak. Practical enough, 6-month goal, I can create for myself, quarter goal, and achieve that. So I'm a kind of person who sets small goals, achieve what's next. Of course, there's a planning for the entire other years also. But
do you ask that question to your candidates who you interview?
No, I don't.
Where do you see yourself?
Actually, I do ask some of the people, so where do you see yourself after some time? I don't mention a year.
I care about the next 1 year.
I mean, so I think they say that मेरे को बहुत dedicated employee बनना है company का, मुझे company के लिए ये करना है. मैं मतलब where do you yourself? If somebody asks me where do I see myself after certain years maybe, so I might talk about probably a CHRO, probably a head of a firm, probably an entrepreneur, right? So these are certain examples. So whenever we answer these questions like this, talk about yourself.
Don't limit yourself to the company that you're working for currently.
I mean, you must know that even if you're that one employee in that entire company, understand where and how you are adding a value. Understand
what's your impact.
What's your impact? It's very important. Otherwise, you go missing in the crowd.
Have you already seen any sort of, say, increase in either retention or employee engagement or any of the other KPIs that you use to gauge what the effect of the program has been?
If we cannot measure it, there is, I don't think then we are doing a great job.
Right.
So if it is monitored and if it is measurable, then we are able to derive a change that if we are making or not. So we have our monitoring system at place for the batches which I'm talking about. Perhaps I will not be able to talk about the retention, I know, because it's just it's very, very early stage. But we've already tightened up. We've made individuals informed about why they do what they do, first of all. How did we achieve doing something? For example, I'll talk about the supervisor batch. I'll talk about importance of quality and safety. Very simple. Importance of, it's a very simple things which they should know the logic behind it. Right. It's only start with logic, and that's what we are making them aware of, right? And we're making them aware of that what role you are you're a faces at the site. You're faces of the organization to the client. So giving them that empowerment, right? So they themselves feels empowered like that, I'm sure. They themselves see a growth opportunity for them as well in the near future. So these are the basics, I think, which we've made a little bit of changes and which we're able to monitor. So it's going pretty well, helping the company in a way, sort of quality control as of now, and the vigilance at the site. So these are certain I can point out right now.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure even the metrics for retention are going to show you great results, because from what I'm understanding, your work really helps the employees get validated. They're not just coming to work and getting their to-do lists done. They're actually coming, now they know what sort of role their work plays for the company. And for any employee, I think it's a signal, right? If a company is investing in your learning, in your development, then it's a signal that they really value you and your work.
Okay. It's I hope it's the same what you're mentioning. Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the different professions that you've been in, different things that you've transitioned into.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm getting from your experience and in general also is the fact that hard skills can be learned, right? And I was also actually reading an article by Forbes recently, which mentioned that the top skills needed, top in-demand skills needed by employers have gone from hard skills to soft skills. And now the top 5 skills that people look for, that employers look for when hiring, are actually all human skills, like communication, leadership, adaptability.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I was also going through one of the Instagram reel of Mr. Mithil. He also highlighted that AI might take over, but skills like innovation, people skill, emotional intelligence, skills like this, we must sharpen it. And our technical skill leads us to something. But to be a manager, do you think a CEO of any firm sit and spend hours at the laptop going through sheets and making charts, or putting pivot and then creating dashboards out of? No, the skill of managing. So at certain, if I explain it to you like that, at a certain years, your technical skills are something which makes you expert in your subject.
Right.
And then your managerial skill constitute of team management, emotional intelligence, understanding behavior, adaptability.
Right.
These skills which will take you to up the ladder in your corporate culture.
I think what I've also heard, again, I think somewhere on Instagram I read about this, every role is a managerial role at the end of the day. After a point, you're not going to be an individual contributor. You will be managing a team, and that's where all of these soft skills come into the picture.
Right.
But you also mentioned AI in your answer, and I guess we all want to know, what do you think is the role of AI in HR?
Oh, crazy. I'll tell you about, I'm sure that there are people who are using it at XYZ level with a little of my experience. ChatGPT is my best friend, right? And
4 or 5?
Yeah, 5. The role of AI, I'm sure it varies with the level of organization and a level where you're working right now, or any individual is. But for me specifically, tools like ChatGPT has been very, very helpful in order to create something so if I want some information in depth, it actually helps me a lot in terms of getting more clarity about the subject matter. Then there are certain tools, for example, machine learning we have used in our in-house software technology. We've put a data of human experiences there and been able to create something which reduces the TAT, right? So it can be used in different ways, but only in HR. So I'm not sure. I mean, at different level, it is used differently. So for me, I think for talent acquisition, it is very, very helpful. There are very many software. LMS also would be there, which is integrated now with the AI. So sort of that. So there are different uses, and I think we must upskill ourselves with the upcoming technology like that.
Okay, thank you so much, Payal, for being here. We loved hosting you. And I guess not just me, but everyone who's watching this podcast is going to get inspired from the type of things that you've done and the variety of things that you've done. And I'm just very glad we got to talk today.
Yes, same here. It's a pleasure being here. And thank you so much for having me. And I loved being here. you.